record this. I'm so sorry about that. So, right, I'm totally going to record this. I just totally neglected to. Okay, so here we are, right? True, false, right? And because the easiest, so if we think about it, it's easiest to assume that the entire thing it's made up of unique characters, and then easy to prove that it's not got any, or that we only have to find one thing that's not unique for the entire thing to not have all unique characters. So I'm going to assume return true there. All right, so what is its input? Well, it's a list of some kind, a list, and I'm going to call it L. Okay, it wants me to import. I will do so by saying Alt Enter. And I will import java.util.list. You can always just do this as well and import everything from java.util, but that's fine. I don't know why it wanted me to do a comma there, but it's wrong. So notice again, we get a warning over here because we're not using our generics. So what we're going to do here is that to make this generic, I'm going to say, I'm going to put in this over here, in this over here. So what is this saying? So when Java reads this, it goes public. Let's see what's, yep. List static, public static E. There we go. I don't know why it was having issues with that. Public static E. So Java's going to read this and go public static E. And when it sees this, it's saying, okay, this static method, it's going to have a generic. That's what the less than greater than signs mean. Okay. And it's saying this is the generic symbol. Okay. So anywhere I see an E, I know that that's basically a placeholder name for a class type. So effectively what this does is that this says we're going to take in a list of E's. It doesn't matter what it is, so long as everything is the same type. So now I can work. So now, if I do this, I am guaranteed, if I create a list of strings, L string, it's a new array list of L int for a list of integer, then I can pass either of these to it. And I don't have to write an isUnique function for strings, and I don't have to write a isUnique function for integers. Okay. Now, what about the next two methods? The next two methods are, and the warnings here are all because it's essentially unused, I believe. This is giving you a warning because the return value is never used, right? And the result is ignored. It is just being smart and saying, hey, you wrote this and you're not using it correctly. Okay. So what about the other one? The next one is given a list is all multiples. So that is public. And that is called all multiples. And it says given a list of integers, that's how we read this, a list of integers and a number, then I want to get back a list of all numbers. Annie. Public static list of integers. So I want back a list of all the numbers that are multiples of that number. Public static list. So notice over here that I don't use this generic marker. You use that generic marker only when you don't know what this is. So we don't know what type this list is going to contain, but we know that it's going to be all the same type. Here, this all multiples, we are restricting it to only take in a list of integers. So we're only going to allow a list of integers to be given in. Okay. So what we'll want over here is that and to work with this, we'll just say, hey, we need a list of integers. Output is equal to new array list. And then we will do our code and we will return that output. Make sense? So what we've got here is, and again, we don't want to put the generic. If we do the generic over here, here's what happens. List of integer. And notice that it changed the color over here. It's saying, hey, it's an integer. That's a type of object. Or rather, it's an integer. All we know is that it's a generic type. So if I wanted to do this, in x is equal to list.get 0 plus list.get 1, it'll say operator plus can't be applied to integer and integer which doesn't make sense because it should be an integer. But in this method, because we wrote this over here, it says integer isn't actually a number or the integer class, it's a placeholder. Basically, we accidentally overwrote what integer is. So that's why we use like integer e or something. So over here, let's see. And now our error should be variable x is already defined in scope. So y. There we go. And now, because it's a list of integers, we can grab 0 and grab index. We can grab index 0, grab index 1, add them together, and we get that. And we can actually, use them. Furthermore, all multiple, if we do this, it should be all multiples. If we do this, we should be able to we can pass in the list of a list of integers, even though it's empty right now, and 5. All right, and that's not going to cause any problems because it's going to accept, hey, here's your list of integers, here's your number. But if I try to pass in the list of strings, it's going to yell at me saying, hey, I was promised to only work with integers. You gave me a list of strings. So this prevents you from making mistakes by passing in the wrong lists. And because that prevents you from making mistakes, it also lets us know that everything in here is an integer, so we can do integer operations on it without having to cast it. So I'm going to go ahead and drop what I have in the chat for everybody, because I'm sure a bunch of you are frantically trying to copy stuff down. So there you go. It's in the chat now. Makes a lot more sense than me just trying to leave it up for everybody.